It's finally happening. The Walt Disney Company is under major investigation from the Trump administration regarding their use of what many believe to be illegal discriminatory practices, and those practices were likely tied to making sure the executives at Disney were paid even more. Today we'll tell you why Disney is DIing on the hill of DEI, and we'll give you an inside look at what's really going on behind the scenes.
But I mean, look, this is offensive. This shouldn't be going on in American business.
Hello, folks, and welcome back to a happy Monday. We are all getting started on the work week, and we are happy to get working today on bringing you the best news that will come your way in terms of analysis regarding Disney. Ron Coleman is here, famous attorney online all across this great big beautiful web. Everybody knows Ron Coleman. You can't go into a 7-Eleven without somebody saying, oh yeah, I know that Ron Coleman guy. Ron, how are you?
Pretty good, thanks. Yourself?
Oh, doing well. And Ron's infamous nature is due to his expansive X following. Used to be called Twitter, but he's there. He's not trying Blue Sky, but folks, we would like you to try clicking that like button. Ron, let's get started with this very interesting topic. It's interesting because there are all sorts of peculiarities with it. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, as you saw in the title and the thumbnail, it's why you clicked it. The Walt Disney Company is now under investigation by the Trump administration. And as we get started, Ron, let me go to you first and just ask, is this a criminal investigation? Is this a, civil investigation? What is this that the FCC is doing?
I really have no idea. And I don't want to say anything to undermine my friends either at the White House or my friend, Chairman Carr. I just got no idea what they're doing here. I mean, because Brendan Carr is a smart guy, I'm sure that he's got a plan and that he's being well advised by people who know what they're doing. But I myself am puzzled and I don't see how regulation, the fact that a company is a media company, brings it under the jurisdiction of the Federal Communications Commission with respect to its internal operations. And for that matter, if they're not broadcasting, in other words, a media company, movie studios are media companies, what does the FCC have to do with that?
All right, we'll get your puzzler ready, Ron. We're going to read through it, and then maybe it will become more apparent to us. As we do, though, Ron, let's just make clear, I don't think that what Disney has been up to has been of the highest standards that I would want them to apply morally, ethically, professionally, etc. I'm not in favor of Disney hiring people based on their ethnicity alone. I'm not in favor of executive pay being tied to that.
I'm glad you clarified that, because I had a very strong suspicion that those were things that you favored. So thanks for making that clear.
Well, up until yesterday, I changed my mind. It was an epiphany moment. All right, folks, here's the letter from the FCC. Tell us what you think about it. It is from, again, Mr. Brendan Carr, who is the head of the FCC now. And it's addressed to Mr. Iger, who is the CEO of the House of Mouse. It says, Dear Mr. Iger, I'm writing to inform you that I've asked the FCC's Enforcement Bureau to open an investigation into Disney and ABC. In particular, I want to ensure that Disney and ABC, and it's important that they have ABC here because it's the network that would fall under the, I suppose under the jurisdiction of the FCC, have not been violating FCC equal employment opportunity regulations by promoting invidious forms of DEI discrimination. While I have seen reports that Disney recently walked back some of its DEI programs, significant concerns remain. For one, I want to ensure that Disney ends any and all discriminatory initiatives in substance, not just name. For another, I want to determine whether Disney's actions, whether ongoing or recently ended, complied at all times with the applicable FCC regulations. As you know, Disney started out a century ago as an iconic American company. Yada, yada, yada. Let's move on. It says numerous reports indicate that Disney's leadership went all in on invidious forms of DEI discrimination a few years ago and apparently did so in a manner that infected many aspects of your company's decisions. As you may know, the Communications Act and Commission rules prohibit regulated entities like Disney's ABC from discriminating on the basis of race, color, religion, national origin, age, or gender. Indeed, the FCC's longstanding equal employment opportunity, or EEO rules, set forth specific requirements to which Disney's regulated operations must adhere. Nonetheless, I am concerned that ABC and its parent company have been or may still be promoting invidious forms of DEI. And it goes on to list out the specifics. Now, the specifics are what really matter to me, and I want to present these to you, Ron, and then let's figure out what is the enforcement mechanism here. It says, in recent years, Disney made DEI a key priority for the company's businesses and embedded explicit race and gender-based criteria across its operations. Indeed, public reports, including ones based on whistleblower documents, paint a disturbing picture of Disney's DEI practices. In at least one account, a Disney employee described the company's decision to launch what would amount to racially segregated affinity groups and spaces. We'll pause there because, Ron, you may not know about this. This is what they called the Bergs, B-E-R-G-S, and the level of ludicrous here is astounding. Ron, essentially, if you were or are, we're not sure if these still exist, if you were someone who worked for Disney of African descent, you were placed into something called Wakanda. I'm not making this up. This is real. The corporation would stick you in an affinity group called Wakanda so that you would be around other employees of African descent, but apparently not Wakandaese. I don't even know how you say it, because Wakanda isn't a real country. It's a fictional place for African peoples that Disney has made up, or Marvel did. Ron, do you see any area there where the FCC has control power, enforcement mechanism, punitive abilities by Disney putting their employees through this system where they have to associate with each other based on immutable differences?
All right, so there are a few things that are getting combined here. The FCC does have enforcement powers. Remember years and years ago, Howard Stern paying a fine for on the air obscenity. If you have a broadcast license, as everyone, I used to have a license when I was an announcer, a DJ in college. You have to have a license, and the stations that carry you have to have licenses. ABC does own a number of stations, and they obviously have licenses, and the FCC can fine media companies, and they can fine, and they can't. I mean, they can't imprison anyone, but in theory, they could pull a license. I think that would result in some really spectacular litigation if they tried to do that under the circumstance. It's to some extent here. What I think we're seeing is, as I'm listening to you read this, what the FCC is doing is giving the policy decision seems to be to give the left a taste of its own medicine. Why the hell does the FCC have any enforcement power in connection with discrimination? Because the left pushed affirmative action and anti-discrimination laws into every single aspect of American life for so long. And I suppose the political reasoning here is, how do you like me now? Okay.
Ron, did they push them? Did they push these companies to the point of illegality, though? Were these companies de facto illegal by following the edicts that were handed down by the Biden administration?
Well, I don't think anything the Biden administration anything that came from the Biden administration could justify putting all Black employees into an affinity group, I suppose is what it is, with the name of a made-up African country. If I were a Black employee at Disney, and I'm sure that many benefits, I'm sure it was good to have this stamp on your passport that you were a member of this affinity group. I'm sure it came with all kinds of benefits and not detriments, but I would find it very offensive.
Well, it'd be like if every Jewish person had to be in a group called King David Land. Right. You're like, wait a minute, that's not real.
It's like wearing a yellow star for Black people, wearing a black star. I mean, again, I believe my assumption would be common sense that this was not something that black people were complaining about, but that's something Brendan Carr, who is not black and who is not representing a black constituency as such. But I mean, look, this is offensive. This shouldn't be going on in American business. If we're going to have regulations, if we're going to regulate through government agencies at all, and if we're going to have regulations that involve disparate treatment of races and other suspect classes, including by agencies that should have really nothing to do with it, then here we are.
Here we are. Now, let me go through just the other couple of things. They're very interesting. It says the company also launched a Reimagine Tomorrow initiative, it would appear, as a mechanism for advancing its DEI mission. It also implemented mandatory inclusion standards across ABC, and that may be key, right? Connected to the network, requiring, for example, that 50% of regular and recurring characters can be drawn from underrepresented groups. Now, I'm going to comment on this one and say, I don't think that can actually, I don't think it's actionable by the government because regular and recurring characters fall under the purview of the company in terms of artistic vision. So like if they want to do a show about historic Japan, they can put whoever they want there. They can even go so ludicrously as to say, you know what? It's going to be all black people in historic Japan, like Ubisoft did. I kid. But I don't know what the government can do about that one.
Well, let me ask you. So let's ask a hypothetical.
Yeah.
If Disney said that our artistic vision is such that in the next Wakanda movie, all the characters will be played by white actors. That's the transformative vision that we have for Wakanda now. I think we would all agree that it would suck, and although from what I understand,
the market would react.
It sucks anyway. But legally speaking, you probably would look to the black actors who were displaced by this decision and begin to wonder if Disney just made a rule that we're not hiring black actors anymore, how would that look different from this?
You know, Ron, the what you've put on the table here is so ludicrous until I realized that you're describing what happened with Snow White and dwarfs and the dwarf actors. So you've actually made a perfect parallel. So the insanity came into reality. But here's where they actually in this letter from the FCC, Ron, they navigate to something that I think probably is actionable, and that is, if we read down, it says these standards may have forced racial and identity quotas into every level of production, demanding that 50% or more of writers, directors, crew, vendors, and vendors that really matters here, be selected based on group identity. Those are immutable differences, right? Okay, so here's where I get into the enforcement mechanism, because what I don't understand, Ron, and I do agree with you that probably the effort here is to rough them up a little bit, right? Get them in the public sphere. Make this be something that maybe it never comes to anything in regards to punitive action from the government, but in the public digital town square, Disney gets their comeuppance. Okay. Here's my question on the actual enforcement angle of this. Wouldn't this typically come from the EEOC?
Well, yes, of course it would. But that's the point that I tried to make earlier, which is, even if you have this kind of regulation, why would the FCC have this functionality? So one thing I can tell you, having spent some time cranking out what are they called, letters, civil rights, Office of Civil Rights letters in for the education department. Every department in the US government has this functionality. In other words, when I was working for a certain organization that focuses on discrimination in universities, we didn't write to the Justice Department. We wrote to the Education Department, Office of Civil Rights. These civil rights principalities, these civil rights sort of encampments, exist in every federal bureaucracy. And the FCC obviously does. I mean, it's very significant, right? It matters a lot to American culture. So it's not if you end up having some experience with civil rights complaints in government, you realize that it's a target rich environment, just as it has been historically an enforcement rich environment. It's been there are many opportunities for many kinds of activist constituencies to get things done through various agencies. Now that the law has changed, it is possible to turn all these agencies around and use them as, again, targets for enforcement by the likes of Brendan Carr and the FCC.
Now, in seeking full disclosure, folks, we do want to say that part of this letter cites thatparkplace.com, the website which I have some ownership in, and Mr. Coleman has represented in the past. Although, looking at this list, who knows, you may have represented others on this list as well, Ron. But yes, it's in tiny print, but the FCC is citing That Park Place as an authority on one particular issue of this. But I can confirm that Park Place nor the WDW Pro Channel have had any coordination with the government or government agency, anything like that. So I do want to go to the AP, though. Some people call it the Associated Press. Some people call it Associated Propaganda. Down here, if we scroll on down, folks, this is where we want to go. This is what really matters, and I'll get the author in just a moment. It says some examples Carr cited go back several years. Carr, of course, is the head of the FCC. Such as a, quote, one-time policy at Disney-owned ABC that at least 50% of characters in TV pilots be from underrepresented groups. It can be a one-time policy if that one-time policy, one time, lasts for years, Associated Press. I'm sorry, that's a problem. The letter cites a statement by a Disney executive in 2021 that it rejected some TV pilots because they didn't satisfy inclusion standards. Well, and here's the author, David Bowder. Who could that Disney executive be? Who is this unnamed minor actor in the company? Oh, wait, it's Dana Walden, Kamala Harris' best friend and the presumptive frontrunner for the next CEO of Disney after Bob Iger leaves. Just a no-named executive. Nobody even knows who it is. It says Trump has targeted all manner of DEI, standing for diversity, equity, inclusion, efforts across both public and private organizations. So, it's not no names that were involved in this. Folks, get over if you want to read the full package on everything that's going on with this. Go over to That Park Place. Disney DEI practices under investigation by Trump-appointed FCC Chairman Brendan Carr for potential EEO violations. Fantastic article. Don't miss it. Get over there as fast as you can. Ron, having puzzled with me together, there are going to be viewers who are not happy with this video. They're going to say, well, you guys didn't go hard enough against Disney. And it's like, no, we all agree that what they've been doing is wrong. It's terribly wrong. The problem that we're trying to find exactly what the strategy here is for making sure that Disney doesn't do it anymore. And they're facing that in the marketplace. On the government side of things, and I don't know, Ron, do you think this opens the door now to employees who feel they've been wrong to file their own lawsuits? Is that maybe part of this?
I don't think I think if there are any such employees that this wouldn't be a bad thing to add to such a lawsuit, but I frankly don't think there are too many judges in California that will be all that impressed by it. It does seem, if you don't really drill down, and to a generalist such as myself, it should be obvious to everyone watching that I'm not a communications lawyer as such. It does seem that there's a very political motivation, and there may very well be. That doesn't make it illegitimate. This is a these are policies that are controversial and which involve government agencies, and politics involves a fight over who gets to control those government agencies.
Is it also the chance, Ron, to open the door? Like they've provided what they've got right now so that they can get in there and find out what's really going on. Is that a possibility as well?
I think it is a possibility, and I've been very surprised so far at how much success the administration has had in this sort of gray area of leaning on institutions and companies other than Perkins Coie, which seems to be fighting back because it has the most. Perkins Coie is, one institution that has a lot to worry about in terms of disclosure. But they turned over Paul Weiss, they turned over Skadden Arps. I mean, these are gigantic, powerful law firms. So it'll be interesting to see so far, I haven't seen any pushback. Maybe a couple of press releases or something. But this is I think there have been some interesting meetings, I'm sure, after this letter came out in some general counsel's offices.
Well, I'll tell you too, Ron, as we get ready to wrap, I'm waiting for the legislative side of this. So lest people complain, and they will, but it's okay. We don't mind that. We're big boys. But lest people complain and say, these guys just want Disney to get away with it. No. I'm looking for a legislative answer. I'm looking for laws to actually get passed that make it illegal for companies to automatically silo you into a group based on the color of your skin. Like, I can't imagine how this can be right. And the legislative branch needs to get involved in this.
I want to suggest that it's probably already illegal. I think it's probably already illegal. And I don't really think. I think you're a little bit tongue in cheek there. No one watching this thinks that either one of us is in favor of this. If I have any concerns, it's whether the FCC is overplaying its hand, whether they're going to end up on the losing end of some lawsuit when Disney or some similarly situated company pushes back in the courts.
We like to win, Ron. We like to win.
We love winning. I haven't gotten sick of winning yet.
He's not tired of winning, folks. Ron, I want to thank you not only for being here, but for your multitasking. I really do appreciate that you are monitoring the parking lots of New England, ensuring that Teslas everywhere are kept safe. Thank you, Ron.
It is a thankless job. It truly is.
All right, folks. That's the video for today. Get over there and subscribe to Ron Coleman on YouTube, and just keep growing the riches he has over on X with
Thank you very much.
Deluge of subscribers. Folks, click the like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below and let us know your thoughts. And please weigh in whether you have your legal documents certifying you as an attorney in your state. Doesn't matter. You're all experts here. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
Oh no. Lauren's gonna be sad again. He's texted me last night about how bad the Odyssey's gonna be. That guy needs a pick-me-up.
Ah, Lauren's feeling down in the dumps again, huh? Sounds like he's feeling forlorn. Nice setup, Floral.
Wilton, don't you have a bridge to haunt or something? Leave Lauren alone. He's not even here to deal with your nonsense.
Well, 'cause he's all alone. There's no one there beside him. I bet he's just lamenting about his boring life. He probably needs WDW Pro to give him some good news. Like that Jonas was fired.
You're a pest, you know that? Lauren's fine. He's probably just nervous or something. He's not sulking or anything.
Sulking? Oh, actually, he's probably just languishing. Picture it. Lorne staring at the movie screen. Lamenting that he has to be there. And then the film ends, and like a Christmas ornament that fell off a tree, He's shattered.
You're weird.
You know, I should troll the WDW Pro comments that Lawrence so down his... Wait a minute. Lawrence so down, he's practically Lawrencescape art.
Yeah, and I'd be thrilled if you'd leave and do that. For a few hours. Actually, it'll help Pro in the algorithm by you leaving comments, or noise, or whatever, on all of Pro's videos.
Noise! I am a maestro of mirth. Lawrence my new canvas. Like a mom folding laundry. Oh, that one sucked.
Yeah.
Alright, well, I'm gonna go check out the next TPP article and get launched into the stratosphere of information. Nobody wants to be lonely. Everybody hurts sometimes.